my sisters and I, seeing what we've seen and going through what we've went through, this topic just fit like a puzzle piece. And as soon as someone brought it to my attention, the first person I thought of was my dad, because I've heard this my whole life.
I started smoking cannabis around 15, I think, maybe 14, 15. I immediately saw the benefits, you know what I'm saying? And as a teenager in Detroit, where I come from, there's not many options. So I started selling marijuana, I'm gonna say around about 19. And I sold marijuana for the next 20 years. I'm Al Blunt. I go by Butch. I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
My name is Alexander Gerals. I am a Detroiter at heart, but I am also from Cleveland. So the best of both worlds combined.
It didn't take long for me to realize that minimum wage jobs were not going to benefit my family. You know, I had 2 infants, my son and my daughter. Marijuana was my out. It was my escape. And I was able to take care of my family for many years prior to incarceration.
Growing up, what cannabis, I'm not gonna say what cannabis took from us, but what distributing cannabis has taken from us, not just me, it kind of robbed me of a childhood and relationship with my father, kind of both parents. And as I grew up and now I'm seeing that people are thriving off cannabis and being successful off cannabis and having like very great lives off cannabis. And now that it's becoming legal, I'm like, well, where was this at when I was growing up? Like, it almost seems unfair.
I remember going before the judge, and the judge talked about the choices that I had. And he talked about how, you chose this life. And, you don't want to be disrespectful to a person that has the power to sentence you. So I remained quiet. But if I could have said something, I would have told him, no, you're wrong. I had no choice. I didn't see another choice. I didn't see another way to make $4,000 or $5,000 in a week, $2,000, $3,000 in a week, and that's what we needed. $5 an hour just wasn't going to cut it, and we all knew it.
I attended the University of Akron. After high school, we discussed these topics in class, and all these kids would stand up and say, yeah, I got a ticket for having a joint, and I'd be thinking back on my life, like, if that was all, you got a slap on the wrist. Like, there's real consequences behind cannabis, and my family still deals with it to this day. So, like, I would think back on my life and the times I had with my family and my parents, but I wouldn't, stand up in class and talk about those topics or those situations.
This problem, it's not marijuana, it is the racist policies that we have in this country to, incarcerate our youth over marijuana.
Yeah, even now, like, the things that people are doing now with cannabis, like all the, it's made to be so fashionable now to smoke cannabis and walk around and have a lot of weed on you. All the rappers do it, all the actors talk about it. I've seen it in my family first, or with my parents. So
I'm still in love with marijuana, and I look at marijuana as, it's our out, I think.
I hope that my father will be able to take his losses from dealing with cannabis at a young age and be able to flip it and thrive off of it. And I hope it makes up for all of the pain it caused and all of the trauma it caused us growing up. And your families too, everybody else's family out there. If you were directly affected by cannabis in any reason, I hope that one day you reap the benefits or are able to flip it.
Hi, gentlemen. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
My name is attorney Christina McPhail-Stockdale. Just wanted to talk to you and see what kind of questions you had for me today.
Great. I think the first question is, do you see a future where marijuana will be totally legal within the next 10 years?
It could very well happen within 2 to 3 years. I don't think that it would happen again, obviously, this year or within 2022, but there's a likelihood. But the key is, what would federal deregulation look like? What would it mean? Would federal deregulation also help inspire and continue social equity? I'm going to just be straight fair with you guys that I think that federal deregulation may be troublesome in trying to keep social equity policies alive. And social equity poses a problem for that. Social equity is a program created by the state of Michigan to allow for the inclusion of individuals into the cannabis market that either reside in a city that has been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. This is the state's way of trying to correct past wrongs due to over-policing of certain communities.
So since my father's incarceration, the laws have changed on marijuana. Let's say I got in trouble with the state for distributing, let's say, 7 pounds of marijuana, and I got 3 years. Is there any way that I could, now that it's legal, is there any way that I could maneuver out of that legal situation, or?
Yes.
Okay.
You can be a cannabis owner, even with a conviction for 7 pounds of marijuana. And I'm gonna tell you why. Under Michigan's medical marijuana statute, that would be difficult to do because there's more stringent requirements and scrutiny for people's felony backgrounds. But under adult use recreational ordinance in the state law and under the social equity program, not only are you able to do that despite your criminal background, but you would get an additional 25% discount off your state licensing fees because of that criminal background.
That's what I like to hear.
That's social equity under the state of Michigan.
Regarding regulation, do you think it's extreme or do you think it's just right?
I
Where do you
think that my opinion isn't more so if it's extreme or if it's just right. I look at it as that what's necessary for now. Again, our state is a new participant in this market. And while they're not trying to be like the other sister states, California and Colorado, some things are just necessary because it's still a narcotic that we're dealing with definitively.
Back to the social equity. Do you think that's working? Because I don't see many.
I don't think a lot of people have taken advantage of it.
And why is that?
The social equity program is great on paper. I'll say that.
I'll give you that one.
Whether its true benefit has been utilized still has yet to be seen. Social equity applies in the recreational market. March of 2021, just a few months ago, was the first time the state started issuing out and pre-qualifying people for recreational licenses. So social equity hasn't had a full chance yet. We're only 4 or 5 months now since recreational business licenses can be applied for and issued if you didn't already have an existing medical marijuana business. So if you're just getting into the market and never had a medical marijuana business and you're applying now as a social equity applicant, you got to give social equity a chance to work. So I don't want to criticize a program that has yet to really operate in good faith.
Okay. What I learned is after everything me and my father have gone through due to cannabis, there are things that are making progress, but it's gonna take a while before we fully have all the answers we want. And for now, we're just gonna have to wait it out.
I guess I'll take some hope with me today. I heard some things that was hopeful. I love the counselor, but like most counselors, they love the law, you know? And I don't love the law. I don't love it as much. And I just wish we could do more to change since so many of us are in agreement about cannabis.
Honestly.
There are still depriving a certain sector of the population that has took the brunt of this war on drugs. We are the casualties of that war. I hate that I went to jail and left you in that war zone to fend for yourself. And I apologize to you right now. I wish it was something I could have did different. I often think about that and I can't still come up with a solution. You know what I mean?
But I'm glad we did this because it's kind of been therapeutic.
Yeah, it has been.
And we didn't even light up a J yet, you know?
Yeah. We never smoked a joint together. I think today is going to be a historic moment for this family right here. Yeah.